This is Asin, and this is your boy 12-inch. That stands for putting your best foot forward in life. And on today's episode, we're talking about Justin Fields versus Caleb Williams. And this is by the numbers. Now, when it comes to Justin Fields, you have to look at the totality of the situation that he was placed in, the coaching, and the moves that have been made around him. You just cannot just look at him specifically and then grade him considering the circumstances that he was in. Now, some people are saying that Justin Fields has way too many fumbles. That is a fact. He has 38 fumbles in 32 games. He has 32 career starts. He has 2 years as a starter, 38 fumbles. But also you have to look at why are there fumbles. The thing is, when you don't get separation, you don't have the right pieces around you, or maybe the right plays being called at the same time, you hold on to the ball a little bit more longer, right? That allows the defense to actually pressure you even further and possibly even get to you, and that's how the fumbles occur. Now, here's the thing. When the fumbles do occur, how many of them were lost? Because of his extreme athleticism and the awareness of the team around him, not that many. The fact of the matter is, out of all the fumbles that he's had, 38 fumbles, Justin Fields has only lost a total of 11 fumbles. That's it. 11 fumbles. You got to look at it. Justin Fields in 2021 had 5 lost fumbles. That's him not even being a starter at third string, being completely pressured with no game plan under Matt Nagy. The second year, he lost 2 fumbles in 2022. The third year, which is in 2023, this last past year, he has 4 lost fumbles in all his starts. So when you look at the fumble situation, yes, he has to protect the ball. Yes, he has to be better with the ball. I mean, this is true with all quarterbacks, especially with young quarterbacks. And he has had this problem. But the fumbles are going down, and then on top of that, his quarterback, his situational awareness has gone up. The other gripe is that Justin Fields, to this day, does not have a 300-yard passing game. But then again, you also have to look at the drops and the situations that's happening around him. And then also what kind of plays are being called, especially when you get into the fourth quarter with Luke Getsy proving that, especially in the fourth quarter, he likes to call a lot more run plays, even if behind, than he does passing plays. And that's why they always said, I guess he doesn't trust Justin yet. But the situation is, it's not just Luke Getsy, but it's also the pieces that you have around. So we have to take a look at everything. Justin Fields does not have a 300-yard game so far. So you take a look at the situation, you can clearly see that things are ticking in the right direction. I mean, just look at what his passer rating was back in 2021. It was a 73.2. In 2022, it moved up to an 85.2, which is a tremendous uptick. And then if you look at 2023, this past year, you can see he clocked in at an 86.3 passer rating. And as it stands of right now, he has an 82.3 career passer rating. And that's going to improve once you put the right pieces around him. Think about it. When you have the right O-line, the right coach calling plays that has experience in calling plays, and then you surround him with pieces by moving back in the draft like a Marvin Harrison Jr., a Rome Odunze, or whatever you decide at that point, talking to Ryan Poles, those numbers will exponentially explode. Because now they don't have to just concentrate on DJ Moore. Cole Kmet is just now coming a viable and reliable receiver as a tight end. But outside that, there was really nothing really going on. Now, if you don't believe things are ticking in the right direction, I implore you to take a look at this. It's simple facts and numbers. In the last 4 games, his passer rating has been 105.2 or higher. That's right, 105.2 or higher. He has 9 TDs to 2 interceptions outside the Green Bay game. You got to look at those numbers. That is absolutely things moving in the right direction. That's what you call chemistry building. There is cohesiveness in the locker room, and there's chemistry starting to happen. And when you see numbers like that, you see the rocket ships on the launch pad. So what do? Do you take the fuel out of it and try to get another rocket to launch? No, you surround it with the pieces that it needs so this thing can take off. Everything is moving up for Justin Fields as of right now. Why do you think there's so much noise in the NFL about other teams who would love to trade for Justin Fields? Everything has a learning curve. Caleb Williams would have a learning curve. I believe that Caleb Williams will be great if he's in the right situation. In this situation, we have a rose that's starting to emerge from the fertilizer, because that's exactly what Justin was dumped into. Look at his improvements. Justin Fields' improvements in 2023, his touchdown percentage 6.5% in 2023, after a 5.3 in 2022 and a low 2.6 in 2021. His yards per pass attempt 7.4 in 2023, and the year before 7.1, and then as a rookie 6.9. These are the type of numbers that you want to see when you're trying to evaluate who you should move forward with. His completion rate, a 62.7 in 2023. It's his best so far. without the pieces surrounding him, and without a solidified O-line. Think about it. Where would this thing go once those two things are addressed?
Liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon. Go NASA. Go.
And as a rookie in 2022, his passer completion rate was only at 58.9. So when you look at that from 58.9 up to 62.7, if you think about that, they haven't really done much around him yet outside making that big splash move for DJ Moore, which places us in the best situation that you could possibly be in as an organization in this upcoming draft. Now, before the whole fiasco in Denver, Russell Wilson was enjoying a resurgence. He was coming back. He was coming alive with Sean Payton down there. And he holds on to the ball 3.03 seconds, just 2 better than Fields. There's no other quarterback being talked about in the league more right now than C.J. Stroud, what a pick it was for Houston, and he's only 3 spots ahead of Field at 3.01 seconds. And the thing is I'm trying to say is that holding on to the ball, if you take a look at these numbers, these are athletic quarterbacks that can extend the plays when under pressure. So yes, the ball holding time can be a little bit higher. Does Justin need to get the ball out on rhythm? Yes, he does. But that comes with experience with the players and the pieces that you have, and whether or not they have talent, and them playing together as a team. When they know each other well enough and they know exactly what each other are going to do, that's when you have chemistry. And when you have that chemistry, that's when you have anticipation throws. And that's when the mistakes go down and the numbers go up. Take a look at that. So when you're talking about holding on to the ball, it's not always a bad thing. Sometimes you need to hold on to the ball to make something happen when you don't have the playmakers around you to give them the opportunities to get open so you can get them the ball. And if not, we already know he has the legs to create amazing splash plays that the whole NFL has come to love if all else breaks down. Then when you look at his pass success rating, he had a 40.3 in 2023, which is his high. As a rookie, it was only 36.7. He had a horrible offensive line. He had a horrible situation that he was just thrown into. And then last year in 2022, he had a 38.2. Once again, which way is the arrow pointing? It's pointing up. And that's considering he only got 1 piece more in DJ Moore, as far as receivers are concerned. Also, when he came back from the injury, you can see the difference in Justin Fields. You can see the difference in his anticipation throws. You can see the connection between him and DJ Moore, and then with the emerging Cole Kmet. And not only that, his interception rate has gone down to 3.2% in 2023. His rookie year, he started off with a 3.7% interception rate. And then you also have to look at the sack percentage. It's now down to 12.3% this year, after 14.7% last year. Where would it go? With the right pieces. This is a business, so look at it like this. If you would have invested in Amazon or Tesla during its inception, and you would start to see the stock starting to rise, is that when you sell? Or do you ride it out to today's situation where it's worth what it is worth now? I believe that's Justin Fields. Or would you go sell your stocks right now in these 2 companies and go buy another stock in a different company that you know nothing about yet? Would you? It looks good, but is it? In this situation, we know exactly what we have and what we need to surround them. And that's the best starting point a team can have to build a contender. You gotta build around, not mess around. We spent our time at the bottom of the barrel with quarterbacks. No need to spend more time there. We have something. Now, take a look at this. This is by the numbers, so I want you to take a look at this. These are numbers that you cannot sit there and just disregard. When Justin Fields is throwing to DJ Moore, he has a 119.6 passer rating. And DJ Moore only has a 2% drop rate, okay? And 53.6% of his catches were contested, okay? Then you look at Cole Kmet. He has a 109.2% passer rating when throwing to Cole. And Cole only has a 1.4% drop rate. When you look at that and you start to look at the rest of the receivers, we see where everything goes wrong. We see how opposing defenses would make sure that they try to stick these 2 and leave the rest open. Take a look at Darnell Mooney. He has a 56.2% passer rating, okay? And Darnell has a 13.9% drop rate. That's 14% of the balls, which we saw ourselves. A couple of those would have put us in the playoffs. Tyler Scott, although he's young and I believe he has a high upside, when Justin is throwing to him, he only has a 56.9% passer rating, and 15% of the balls are being dropped. You see it right there. Okay, Robert Tonyan, when throwing to him, it's a 58.9% passer rating, and 8.3% of the balls were dropped. Now let's take a look at Chase Claypool when he was with the Bears. 35.8% passer rating. 20% of all balls thrown in his direction that could have been caught were dropped. Case closed. We need better receivers. That's how you fix the situation. You don't fix it by going back and getting another quarterback. You have to fix this from the root up. And we see exactly where the problem's at. You need to surround your quarterback for him to be successful. You look at Brock Purdy, people use him as an example. He has probably the best weapons in the league. You look at Kansas City. When Mahomes stepped into that situation, he fell into a situation that nurtured him. He had one of the great quarterbacks in front of him to learn from at that time. And then he also has one of the best coaches, and he had a plethora of weapons around him. He didn't do it by himself. He did it with the right supporting cast and the right coaching. And when fixing a situation, you can't start with the quarterback, because the quarterback in this situation that we're in with Justin Fields is not the problem. It's the structure around him. But the question is, what do the Bears brass think about Justin Fields? And this is where Kevin Warren comes in. And Kevin says, I'm a supporter of Justin because I got a chance to work with him when I was the commissioner of the Big Ten Conference. He's incredibly talented. He is smart. He works hard. He wants to be a great NFL football player. He just needs to make sure that he has the support around him. He's working hard. I would love for him this offseason to make sure he's totally healthy going into the season next year. This is a difficult game. Then he goes on furthermore to say, Justin has a rare combination of intelligence, of size, of strength, and speed. You forget how big of a man he is until you're up on him. He's not a small man. I just think every year he's going to continually get better. So, I'm glad he's on the Chicago Bears. And that's exactly what we have. It's on film. It's on the tape. You have to surround him. Is this a tip-off to what's going to be happening? Or are they going to trade him? We don't know. This is smokescreen season. But these are true words. And these are being backed by what? The numbers. However, despite the whole situation of what Justin has been going through, you still have people out there saying Justin is not a winner. But I ask you this, is he not a winner? He comes from a winning program with Ohio State. He comes with a winning mentality. He just went into a situation where the Bears were trying to rebuild and not trying to win. That is a major difference. The Bears are going through a rebuild. And how do you expect to get the positions that you need in the draft to have draft capital and to be able to trade back if you surround your quarterback with the pieces that he needs to win? You cannot rebuild this way. There's no such thing as rebuilding when a team is moving forward. So what do? You deconstruct the team. And when you have an organization that's trying to build for the future to win, you can't win now. You have to deconstruct that team and start over with the contracts, with the draft picks. And he survived that phase. We are now in phase 2 of the rebuild. Most of it went towards phase 1, which was the defensive side of the ball. You always have to shore that up. And now we are entering the offensive side of the ball. And if he was able to shine and put up numbers like this during that time, imagine what he's going to do when they do surround him coming this year. Think about it. An 11-29 record during this stretch doesn't look good from the outside, but when you look in, you see a totally different situation and what the Bears are really, truly trying to accomplish. So what should the Bears do? How about we trade back from that number 1 spot? Because right now we're in a prime position that we won't see again for who knows how long. Think about it. Right now you do have a quarterback that can put up numbers, who's immensely talented, who didn't have the coaching or the pieces around him or the O-line. So now you're in a position where you can address that this year during this offseason. Caleb is a big draw, so you will get a haul. So you move back out of that. Where do you move? You move down from number 2, down to number 3, wherever have you. So you're still in prime position to get an elite talent like a Marvin Harrison Jr. And we all know as of late, Ohio State is putting out some of the best wide receivers in the game that translate on the field from college to the NFL. We know for a fact that this draft is rich with prospects when it comes to wide receivers. I mean, you got to look at it. Look at the big board. You have Marvin Harrison Jr., who is projected to be number 1 as far as receivers are concerned. And then you also have Malik Neighbors out of LSU. And then you have Rome Odunze for Washington. This already puts you in a prime position to choose which one of those that you want. The consensus is Marvin Harrison Jr. Can you imagine him being paired up opposite of DJ Moore? What do you do then? Then on top of that, the Bears own the number 9 pick. So you can further solidify your O-line, or you can get some more help on defense, or you can go draft another wide receiver. Maybe one just falls down the board like Justin did when we picked him up. Then imagine what you will have when you have a rushing attack, you have a running and passing quarterback, plus you will have a plethora of weapons that you can now get the ball to. That makes a major difference in the situation. How will the defense try to scheme for that? You really can't. You just got to pick your poison. And that would be the beginning of flu season. So if the Bears do decide to move back, they do have options. And here's the top 10 rated highest QBs coming out in this draft. And as you can see, Caleb Williams is not on the top. He's at the bottom. We all understand the situation that he was in with USC, as far as O-line and far as his receivers are concerned. But then again, you can't use that as an excuse for him and not use that as a fact for Justin. And also remember this, your college stats don't make pro stats. Now, getting back to Justin, we also have to point out Luke Getsy, who's now the OC for the Raiders, had this to say about him. Tremendous growth for Justin. Like I said, when I was there, he was one of the best human beings I've ever got to work with. It's just the mentality that he brought every day, the consistency, the approach, the kind of man he is. Just really, it was a blessing to work with him. And he was someone that just came to work every day to get better, and I think he'll continue to do so. That is high praises. And with a work ethic like that, that's a guy who you want under center on your team as quarterback, not someone you want to look across the field at. So when dealing with these type of decisions that Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren and Ian Cunningham have to make, it's not an easy one, but you have to go by the numbers, you have to go by chemistry, you have to also check the temperature and what the camaraderie is like in that locker room. What do the coaches say? Which way is the arrow pointing? And who gives you the clearest and best path forward to win? You have the room being that you have $70 million under the cap, third most in the NFL, to make a big splash, to make big moves. Or do you relinquish this position and you put all the draft capital into Caleb Williams, then have to tap into your cap money in free agency to try to support Caleb Williams and make it look like a right decision? So with all these numbers and all these decisions that have to be made this off season, what do? You subscribe.